Happy Hallows Eve, Strat fans. It's me, Colonel Strat, Strategy Extraordinaire, and to this Halloween, I wanted to deep dive into one of the most powerful vampires in all of Warhammer 3. So, this is actually a twofer, because there's two lords we're going to be talking about here, and one is actually a little bit better to play as than the other, while the other is actually more powerful than that one that you should play as. I'll get more into that in the coming video. So I hope you guys enjoy this one, and we're going to dive into Vlad von Karstein and his undead wife, Isabella. Isabella and Vlad are the ultimate Warhammer power couple, and it's like a match made in heaven, or hell, I guess. But Vlad is like the stereotypical, Count Dracula character, where he's been killed so many times and brought back that he's almost nigh unkillable. Isabella is his young bride that was recently turned, and they both perform well off each other, and I'm going to show you today how best to synergize with them and who you should be playing as to get the most benefits out, depending on your playstyle. So, hope you guys strap in, and remember to like, comment, maybe leave a sub for the channel for more awesome vids like this one. And let's get right into these undead lovers. So, if it hasn't been obvious to most of you, I usually pick Isabella. Now, a little bit of an explanation for this. She's not as powerful as Vlad, but whoever you pick, you're going to start with the other when you start. So, Vlad's items are more powerful, so having him start with those items is insane. So he's going to be a really powerful hero unit for your army. Plus, she buffs up the vampire heroes by 25% for their weapon strength, as well as gives them more melee attack and defense in her army. So she's really good for amassing heroes, and hero armies are always more powerful. Even though Vlad technically starts with the same army, but a little bit better, because one of these units gets replaced with crypt ghouls. So her army's not as powerful as Vlad's is, but Vlad himself is way more powerful with his two items that he starts with, rather than her one item that she has to get. So it's easy to get her one item, and her item is still pretty powerful, but not as powerful as Vlad's. So that's why I pick her, plus the bonuses she gives for vampires. They both have the same unique building chain in Castle Drakenhof, so that's anything new. But compared to Vlad's campaign movement buff and his Vanguard deployment, this is just way better. So that's why I choose Isabella to play as, but you want to have both of them in the army so that they do the most amount of damage. So now that I've gone over their faction effects, let's go right into their campaign. And you see we still have Vlad announcing it. So to ensure Vlad and Isabella fight in the same army to give them improved prowess in battle. And you can construct the Mausoleum of the Mad Count for early recruitment of higher ranked vampire heroes, which is always good. And that is why I picked Isabella, because she gets better vampire heroes when you build this special building right this. Mausoleum of the Mad Count. But then you get this building as well, which is really good. But this allows you to get more vampires plus 3 recruit rank, as well as unlocks the recruitment for vampires. So that is, in a nutshell, why I have Isabella. But look at Vlad's two abilities. Like here, Blood Drinker gives him a regeneration, and then the von Karstein ring gives him a 60% damage resistance. That's active for 22 seconds, as well as gives him a passive 20 ward save. So that is just insane. The Karstein ring is insane. So he is just a beast from turn 1. So having him as a beast for turn 1 is far better than trying to level him up and get more. And then you start with a vampire hero, which already gets buffed by Isabella's buffs. So that's always good as well. So her army in fact becomes better than Vlad's to start with, and we're able to defeat this army fairly easily. Alright, so yeah, the first parts of your turn are going to be focused around consolidating Sylvania, and once you do that, then branch out into the Empire or the Dwarves. I usually ignore the Dwarves, because they're going to be stomped by Skarsnik and all the Orcs. Once the Orcs take them, then it's going to be easier to deal with them, because they do have a lot of natural resistance to magic, which is not good news for you. Now, we do start with a Blood Kiss, but we need at least 3. Our first one for that I usually go for is either a von Karstein, a Lamian, or a Blood Dragon, because the blood dragons give you more for cavalry units, and Vlad uses them a lot. Von Karsteins, you get the access to Sylvanian crossbowmen and handgunners, which are really good. And then the Sylvanians, of course, for more diplomatic and for more campaign line of sight, and plus they're a pretty powerful lord in itself, as well as unique. I just like how unique they are, the Lamians are. So, yeah, for the first thing we do is build the Mausoleum of the Mad Count as well, so that we can get more, so we can unlock vampires and get another vampire as well into Isabella's retinue, which would make it 4 vampires. And then, of course, first thing we're going to get is the hunger, pretty much for all of them, because that's a regeneration right there, so that's going to do really well. I don't think they get the... Do they start with the hunger? I don't think they do. Yeah, they have to get it right here. They have to go rank 8. So I would do Safeguard for them or Spirit Leech. Let's do Spirit Leech. Depends on what one you get. If you get Death, Spirit Leech. If you get Shadows, I would do the yellow line first, just because it's not as effective. But, well, once you get the Pendulum, then it's very effective. But, that's pretty much the skills I would choose first turn. And that's the buildings I would choose. Get upgrade to tier 2 and get the Mausoleum. For technology, you could do the Book of Arkan or the Lamian Book of Blood, which I usually do the Book of Arkan or the Lamian Book. All the other ones don't really lead to anything that fantastic for you, because these are like beasts. You don't really buff them up that much. I mean, Isabella does, but she doesn't buff them up as much to make them like stand out, Nothing insane like Gorst does for zombies. So I will usually go with the Lamian book over this one, because plus 5 leadership is not going to be very sufficient for them, because they don't have any other buffs, Like Gorst buffs them up a whole lot more than Vlad does. But Vlad is a lot more powerful and has access to more powerful units from the start, with 2 Graveguard, a Vargul, Vargeists, and a Black Coach. So he's, Vlad and Isabella start with a lot of better units than than Gorst ever would. Alright, and we'll just get a little bit more units recruited, and then attack Etchen, cure it, and that's pretty much a full province. And we'll do Foster Terror to increase the growth, and we'll have another point for this one. So then we'll do the Invocation. Invocation Mehek is a necessity, no matter what vampire you're playing, is a necessity to get. For diplomacy, we're going to be killing off Templehof really quick. Everyone else around you hates you. There's really no allies to be found other than, like, way over here there's a vampire faction, but they're going to be, toppled. The Silver Pinnacle is going to be toppled before you even know it. So you're just going to be consolidating Sylvania, maybe building up a little bit. Ostermark is very weak. I usually go for them. Averland is kind of okay, and Stirland is formidable, but Ostermark is constantly raided by Draika, so be careful. After you consolidate Sylvania, you're gonna have you have 2 provinces. That's pretty good for the early game to try to build up an economy, and you can pretty much just branch out. Be mindful. As vampires, you got to make sure that corruption is seeping into the neighboring provinces. So having some vampire lords go out here and spread the corruption would be nice to like prep for an invasion. Or if you don't mind going in camp stance to reach your enemy's location, then that's fine too. But it's all up to you, up to what approach you want to make. But they have a pretty strong start, so they're going to be very formidable. And with Vlad fully decked out in his gear right now, he is very formidable. So like he's got the hunger, and he's got Blood Drinker, which means he's going to be healing 0.30, which is insane. His self heal is going to be insane, so he's going to be almost unkillable in the early game. Late game, he will become a little bit more killable once things can punch through his armor, but he's still going to be pretty powerful with his Karstein Reen ability. Pretty much make himself invulnerable. If you put some more items on him that give him ward save, he can pretty much become almost invulnerable. For Isabella, her special item gives her some ward save, gives her a blood chalice, which gives her ability to increase the hit points of her combatants. It's a nice heal that she gives, and she also has a casualty punishment. She has a nice wound recovery time and hero actions chance. So it's a decent item, especially with the ability. But the ability does have an insane cooldown, so I think it's only like, a 1 use, so it's kind of like a clutch play. So like if you have a side of your line that's crumbling, you pop that and you can resurrect them up because they can resurrect the dead combatants too. Alrighty, so that's pretty much covers the campaign stuff. Let's get into some army compositions and I'll show you exactly how they work. Now, because they don't buff up anything insanely, these will be AI like skirmish battles. These won't be like on the campaign map because they don't buff things up insanely, but they buff themselves up. So their power dynamic is what's going to make them more powerful. So I'll see you on the campaign map with a tier 1. Oh, here we are, Strat fans. Now I know I said I was going to do the skirmish battles, but I quickly realized that you can't have Vlad and Isabella together in the skirmish battles, which blows, but you know, it's okay. It'll be just fine. So what we have here is pretty much a smorgasbord of random units that we've collected. Now, you know, we do have our Graveguard, Crypt Ghouls, the Varghulf, Vargheists, the Black Coach. Those are the pretty good units, and we have our Vampire as well as Vlad in there with Isabella. But then we just have a bunch of Skeleton Spearmen and some Dire Wolves and some Failbats. Just some stuff to fill out the roster, because early Vampire gameplay is just collecting units as you can. Just by raising them up. You're going to have very low units, but after we conquer Castle Dragon, Castle Templehof here, we're going to be able to consolidate, build up an actual army, and, you know, not have to rely on raised dead. Now, we caught them off guard early on in the turns, so they don't have many troops raised, and then their garrison only has like a couple good troops, so it should be fairly easy to defeat them, especially with Vlad on our side with his fully decked out gear. So let's go right into the battle. Alright, here we are in the battle. So what we've got is, you know, pretty much just throwing our infantry on the walls. Vlad and Isabella are going to be right next to each other, powerfully each other up. They do have some nice abilities, especially Vlad. He's going to be one of our main heavy hitters. In fact, I think I'm going to have them both, in fact the Vampire too, all go at and attack the main gate here. Instead of support the main infantry force, which is going to go up here and attack the other main infantry force, we're going to get them through here and go behind. The Failbats and Varghulfs are going to do, they're just going to go and cause some havoc. Pretty much, you know, just take out some more elite units with the Varghulfs, and, you know, that's pretty much it. That's how you play Vampire counts, really. Most of the units just distract. Now, we all have Vanguard deployment, which is really good for Vampires, because we get to get right up on the enemy. So, let's start this battle and wipe out the dreaded and hated Templehof brood. Alright, let's get up there, and then we'll get these guys to attack the gatehouse here. Let's see now. Maybe we can attack those Failbats with our Failbats. Attack those guys. Get those guys. Alright.
Isabella Vlad.
Can't have it overcast yet.
This world is mine.
Okay.
I will rule all.
Once we get this gatehouse down, then we'll be killing. Yep, so again, those Varghulfs are just going to go and cause some damage. We're probably going to lose the Failbats. That's okay. That is just a-okay. Let's take out those Black Knights. Crypt Ghouls, take those guys out. Take those guys out. Yeah, there we go. Alright.
Vlad von Karstein.
Vlad's doing a lot of damage. Oh, the Varghulfs got stuck. Alright. We're actually doing pretty well. So our Failbats are taking some damage here. The Varghulfs are starting to take some, well, they were. But they're not taking any anymore.
I am busy. Attack!
Like I said, you know, he's surrounded, but he's doing so much against them.
Isabella von Karstein.
Oh, here we go. Let's heal up. Alright. Doing alright. Killing them. There we go. Let's get these guys back, because they are going to die if we don't. But those guys are going to do just fine. Let's go attack the Black Knights. We can get their advanced units down, then the other units are just going to crumble. Yeah, that's what we do. Alright. Alright, actually, let's go attack these crypt ghouls here. Do some extra damage to them. Some more invocation of the heck over here. I do want to take Vlad and take out their necromancer, because that'll help a lot. Well, look at that. Our Felbats were completely destroyed. Well, that's a shame. And the Black Knights are going to be completely destroyed too. So that's a shame for them. Skeleton Warriors going to be completely destroyed. Alright. And then we're going to take this blob and kind of just move them over here. We're going to have Vlad go for the necromancer, which is great. Vogels go there. Where are these guys? Are they attacking? No. Get them attacking.
Isabella.
Let's heal up. Oh, can't. Can't yet. We need 7, I think. No, we need more. I think it's at least 12 or something, right? I thought.
Die!
Vlad von Karstein.
Yeah, they're starting to lose a lot of guys now. Yeah, there we go. We're starting to lose a lot of guys.
Queen of Darkness.
No. Okay. We were just one shy. I always want to use that one instead.
What do you want?
Alright, let's get our damage reduction, then we'll go kill them. There we go. Yeah, they're losing more than us now. It's kind of just a battle of attrition, in the early stages, because you kind of just want to, you know, do what you can. Come on, Vlad. Ooh, there you go. There, he's gone. That's a big leadership debuff to them, and they're gonna crumble. Alrighty, and that pretty much gives it to us. Decisive victory against Templehof. Again, early on in the game, it's gonna be a battle of attrition, no matter what vampire you're playing, really, because you're just gonna have to, you know, whittle them down little by little. Your troops are shit, so you're not gonna be able to really have any insane plays with troops. But, you know, after you swarm them, if you're playing Vlad and Isabella, they can participate in the swarm and just snipe enemy heroes and just cause the enemy to crumble. You know, even if they're humans, they'll just be able to rout because Vlad is so unstoppable. Alrighty, so that's a tier 1. We'll go through the campaign a little bit, and I'll come back with a tier 2. And here we are with tier 2. Now I know what you're thinking. Super easy fight, Colonel. Why are you showing this? It's gonna be one and done. Well, I've never fought the Changeling before, so I want to see what his AI is capable of doing. So I caught him out here in the open, and in fact, it's funny that I have Sterling reinforcing me as an ally in this fight. Isn't that hilarious? So, I've recruited a lot. I've also gotten another vampire, so now I have 2 extra ones. And then I have 6 Graveguard. Now, Graveguard are unlocked at a tier 3 building, but, you know, this tier 3 building's easy to build. You can build it in the minor settlements too, and it doesn't cost much. The same with the Black Knights. They're at a tier 2 building. We have our Vogel still. We have a Vargeist, which are from a tier 3 building that you can build in a minor settlement as well. And then the Corpse Carts with unholy lodestones, which again, same deal. So That's why I had them include with this tier 2 build because they are classified as a tier 2 unit, and we come from a tier 2, tier 3 building, so they're pretty easy to recruit by this time in the campaign. So that's why I brought him, and I have a pretty sizable force. He's got almost nothing, pretty much just chaff units. So it's gonna be a really quick, fun battle, but it will still be interesting to see how I beat the changeling and how I don't even know what form he has. So we're gonna see what form he has and just do our best to beat him. So let's go into the battle. All right, so here we are with a tier 2 on the field. So we have our grave guard guarding the front, and in the backs we have some corpse carts with the channeling their unholy lodestones to heal them, and then we also have a black coach and the and the vampires. Vlad and well, Isabella's actually in the air with her hell steed. Vlad and this other vampire are on foot, but the other one has a steed, Barded Nightmare. And then in the back we have our black knights, really good units, really armored. They're going to be able to do a lot. And then we have our Vargeists in the front, flying. And on the side we have our Vargul, and in the middle we have our black coach, which is going to do a lot of ethereal damage, cut up the enemies pretty well. So we're going to have to try to catch the Tzeentchian forces, because their main source of power, their blue horrors and their flamers, are going to be ranged units. So we have to get at them, because we do lack ranged units, and we're going to take, a decent amount of damage from them. We don't have any magic resist, so just got to be careful. But we do have the reinforcements from Sterling coming in, which is, again, just so hilarious. So let's start this battle and go up against Tzeentch. Alright. Yeah, I knew they were going to attack. Almost immediately I knew they were.
Swiftly.
Okay. Let's do...
Vlad von Karstein.
Well,
Yes,
they're attacking us.
I will.
I knew they were going to.
Vlad
That's
von
okay.
Karstein.
Where's my pendulum? There's the pendulum. Let's do the pendulum. Hit them with some magic of our own. Let's go take care of these flamers. I'm gonna have to get these black knights around.
Isabella von Karstein.
Let's engage.
Extinguish life.
Burning chariot.
At once. Crush the breathers. Isabella von Karstein.
Yeah, we don't have enough magic. That's okay. Okay. We've circled around them pretty easily. We're gonna probably defeat them before
I am darkness.
let's deal with that burning chariot of Tzeentch. There we go.
I thirst.
Well, our graveguard are actually disintegrating. Even though we did just kill the cockatrice.
I'm in your thrall.
Yeah, we did just kill a lot of their units, so yeah. Pretty fast, like I thought. The changeling. Where even is he? Oh, there he is. He's not even changing or anything.
Face your fate, mortals.
Yeah, let's keep moving. We're taking too much damage from their
End them. Swiftly.
let's do some heals. There we go. Get some heals in.
Tremble, mortals. Quickly.
Oh no, the cockatrice is still in there. It just took a hit, I think. Alright, we're actually gonna send these Vargeists over there. Kill them. And Sterling's coming in just in time for the party, aren't they?
Yes. Bring death.
And there he goes disintegrating because he's a demon. Alright. And bye-bye changeling. Bye-bye changeling. Alright. That was a pretty fast battle, but as you can see, even with we still took a heavy amount of casualties because we do have the debuff of not having any missile troops, so it can still be a bit of a chore, especially against a heavily missile faction like Zinch, but still able to take him down because, you know, we had fast troops, we were able to lock them down, and that's really what you have to do as the vampires, is lock down the missile troops and just pepper them up, and then get your mainline infantry there that are slow. You know, like these guys are really slow with 27 speed, so they're going to take a long time to move. But if you have your fast units locking them down, they can come in, take over, pull your fast units out, and then go lock down another unit. So that was a tier 2. Let's go on to a tier 3. I'll meet you guys on the campaign map. Now showcasing our tier 3, we come up against Helmut Feuerbach, Count of Telebecklin. Now he has been kind of sitting around not doing much, as you can tell, so he'll be a pretty easy victory to show a nice way to show off the murderous potential of this force. So what we have here is a force of Graveguard again. I keep them pretty solid throughout the whole game because even though they start to lack later on, the alternative to their infantry counterpart is, you know, the Karn rates, and they are just very too situational for me, whereas these guys in their 90 armor can pretty much excel anywhere I put them. And then I have Blood Knights, which are the ultimate cavalry. They have the Hunger, which means they're going to regen. They have Frenzy. They have the Flag of the Blood Key, which gives them 20% missile resist, and you know they have 110 armor with a with a 30% block shield. So they're pretty powerful. We have 2 Terrorgeists, pretty self-explanatory, they're nice monsters. And we have 4 Mortis Engines, as well as our 2 Vampires. I could have recruited more Vampires, but, you know, that's really up to you. So, and we got them all up to 50. So, just to showcase how powerful they can be. Like, look at Vlad's stats. He is insane. 101 melee attack with sundering and magical attacks. 607 weapon strength. He's insane. Isabella does a demoralizing buff. All of her vampires do like 672 damage, and they all have the Hell Steeds. The only one on foot is Vlad, but like, this is insane. So, let's go into the battle and show off this tier 3 monstrosity. Alrighty, now while this might look like more of a smaller force, it is vastly better and superior to the enemy in terms of units, so that our units are able to survive a lot better than theirs. So we'll just have to chomp through the mortals and do a lot more damage. So we're going to try to channel magic. Hopefully we get lucky. Nope, we didn't. So we went down to 11. But that's alright. So again, just to recap, we got our Graveguard up front, Mortis Engines right behind them. They're really cool with their, you know, they buff up and give them a magical attack as well. So they're really good, as well as they give a constant debuff and attacking, like, a damage spell around them. Have our Terrorgeists up here, flying above. Of course, we have our Vampires and Isabella herself. Vlad stuck there on the bottom. Don't worry, dear. I'll watch you from the floor. You know, but he's insane. He is insane. He's a massive tank. So he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. In the back, we have our Blood Knights ready to support us and do their damage and do God's work. So let's go into the battle against the Empire. Alright, we're going to go right at the Imperial lines.
Haste! Mortis Engine! The living will join us. With haste!
Alright, let's get our vampires up there.
Swiftly!
Vlad, you're going to deal with the enemy leader. In fact, I'm going to activate Storm of Night. Oh wait, no, that's just on a flying unit. I'm going to activate this one on me. And we'll go attack the we're gonna attack the flying units, well, the back units with our Blood Knights. So yeah, we're doing well, very well. Alright, let's do that. We'll do a Wind of Death.
It is done.
Yeah, let's do a Wind of Death there. Ooh. Not the best Wind of Death, but does do some damage.
Vampire! At once!
What do you want?
Oh, did we didn't kill him yet though, right? I don't think so.
Attack!
All before us will perish.
We're just chasing him down.
With haste!
Your time has come!
Alright, and we have this ability to heal myself up. We're gonna do... Oh, well, can't really do that anymore. Alrighty, we routed them. Well, it took us a couple minutes, but we had some fun, didn't we? Killed a lot of them. And then we can have our Blood Knights chase them down. Yeah, let's have the Blood Knights chase them down.
All before us will
Maybe
perish.
the Terrorgeist too. Yeah, let's get them. Get them, Blood Knights. But anyway, that's a tier 3. So as you can see, very powerful with these very powerful units. The Terrorgeists do have a death breath, which does a lot of magical damage. It does help out a lot. So it's always good to have a couple of them in these guys' army because you want to prioritize the more powerful units. See, in Gorst, it was hard to, validate the more powerful units use when you had such powerful buffs to your zombies. But with these guys, with Vlad and Isabella, you gotta use the powerful units, or else, because they just buff up themselves and they heal up the powerful units. They don't really buff them up as much. So yeah, that's pretty much what you're gonna want to do with these units. So that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed these army compositions. I'll meet you guys on the flip side. Let's wrap this up now, ladies and gentlemen.
Isabella Vlad.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This look into Isabella and Vlad's power dynamic and how they are the most powerful couple in Warhammer. They get really insane. Vlad carries a lot with the hero sniping, but Isabella's really good for keeping the army alive. As she is in the lore. She's very courtly and stately compared to Vlad, who is just, the big old muscle and killing machine. So it fits. And they are really powerful, and I would advise anyone who loves playing as the vampires, especially for the spooky holiday, which again, happy Hallows Eve, everyone. If you want to play a thematic campaign for the spooks, these are the best ones, because, they're all about dark magic and, undeath and all life and all that, and they're very powerful together. Very, very powerful. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and remember to, as always, leave a like down below, maybe a comment, tell me how I'm doing, and as always, Strat fans, maybe leave a sub for me as well. I appreciate all the support you guys give me, and I have a lot more really cool videos coming for Warhammer and other games. So again, just stay tuned and maybe hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss out whenever I upload. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Remember to always keep it strategic, Strat fans. Colonel out.